us, it seems that, we came out okay, but you don't know some of the trauma and, but for the grace of God, why we are able to be able to have survived. And so, but as
Yeah.
much as possible, if, like my mom would often say, if she knew, she would have done it a little bit better. And so we want to make sure as much as possible that persons have the knowledge, the academic knowledge, the spiritual knowledge to be the best that they can be as parents. So I know
Sister
I've
Sher-
said a lot there. So anyone else want to get in? Go ahead.
Let's put a question with regard to that. Let's look at the Bahamas. We have the global report. Is the Bahamas, by and large, at the point where we can say the vast majority of children have the basic needs met, like shelter, food, clothing, etc.?
Um, physically, I think we are, and again, I guess it's, in a lot of cases we could say that it's relative, in terms of if you're comparing it to, other nations or whatever. But I think for the most part, children are able to have, for the most part, and if they're not, there are resources that they can get in order to be able to meet at least that basic level. Um, I would also say that in a lot of cases that, we have to reassess parents have to reassess what are the needs of, or what are the basic needs of their children, because many times resources are spent on things that are really not needful, in lieu of just the basic things. For instance, monies are spent on buying fast food, when in fact, a meal can be made that would save money to be able to get, to put towards something, that is more needful. And so, again, that's where the education comes in a lot of cases too, that we need to be able to assess how we are using our, even limited resources, and being able to stretch those to take care of our families.
Because to share, I can hear some mothers and fathers saying right now, say, yes, fast food may not be the best, but listen, I got to work a full time job. My wife got to work a full time job. We got hours pick up the kids. It's hard to find the time to actually do a home cooked meal. And so
Hmm.
the fast food is often the quickest and the shortest way to make sure that everybody is fed in a timely manner. We just don't have the time resources to be able to deal with providing home cooked meals on a regular basis.
Right. Right. And again, a lot of times, it may seem a lot of times, that way. And again, there has to be true, reflection and introspection and assessment of how we are using our time. Many times, you find that this, particularly sometimes with single parents, and a lot of times with single parents, is that, they do have to work. So it's easier to get, to purchase the fast food. Okay. But then again, you have to also look at, in the long run, you know, is this fast food, the best way in the long run for my child, if we were really talking about nutrition and proper nutritional development. Okay, it's maybe easier, but not the easiest thing is not always the best, assess where we
Mhm.
are, in terms of that. Um, Again, time, we talk about resources. Many times we're spending a lot of times on unnecessary things. And when we, for instance, I often share with my sister who is also a single parent, on a Saturday and a Sunday, you could probably cook for the whole week, things of those, time management things, and your child can have, instead of having to give, $5 every day for lunch, or every day going out to eat. These things add up, and if you really look at it and account for it, you can see many ways in which you can save money instead of doing certain things just because of convenience.
Planning ahead.
Planning ahead. And even if we talk about timing, even if we talk about time, I find that digitally, and I see my sister is here, and I know that she could talk a little bit about this Murtis Archer, who is a health professional also, and deals with youth. But when we talk about the time that we use on the digitals, and I think this is a major, when we talk about, not having the time to really spend with the children and whatnot. I'm seeing it within my family, so I know. And we speak about it often, is that when we come home, even from work or whatever, how much time are you spending on those digitals? There's something that said we need to disconnect to reconnect, in a lot of ways, because the time that we're spending on those phones and the time we're spending talking and whatnot, we could be spending time, with the children on a global basis. What they say, it's like 30 something minutes that on average that a parent spends with, that their child, and that's way below what should actually be happening with our children, to be able to give them the proper nurture and attention, and it said that love is spelled Time, and that is what we're not
Yeah, yeah,
giving, and that's why we're not getting our children are um speaking and saying that, that they don't feel that connection with their parents. Their parents are not engaged, even though they're present in body, they're not, emotionally connected. And so when we see things like children going out and drinking, and or starting drinking, or even though all of these things are fallouts from not feeling the love, not feeling the connection, not feeling the acceptance, and just wanting to have those good feelings that those things that we need make us feel. We go out and we eat, or we drink, or whatever have you. And the sad thing about this is that when this is practiced, and I have to be very vulnerable here, when this is practiced over a period of time as a child and without intervention, and you become an adult, it is extremely difficult to stop those brain patterns that have been formed. Those patterns, and I guess someone who doesn't who doesn't who hasn't experienced would not know, but I know in many cases I am definitely in the obese category, and it's not for lack of trying, so I often
yeah.
say that one of the resources that I need a therapist. And as soon as I can afford one, I'm going to get one. And we take
Mhm.
this is for granted that, hey, and in fact, many years ago, when I was told, and obviously our country is dealing with this, because we are on the top 10 in terms of obesity, and so it's something again that has to be looked at very. When I was told that this may be, it's seen as maybe a mental, or a psychological disorder, I was highly offended. But now that I have the education, I recognize that could very well be so. I am now accepting that, and accepting the fact that, and so many of these things Like we were saying, many times ago, we would not have said that these children are going through a mental or having mental issues or rest of it. But we are knowing now from scientific and academic research that that is exactly what it is, why they are reverting to alcohol, risky sexual behaviors and all the rest of it that we're seeing in this report.
Okay. I appreciate your taking the time to be
So,
vulnerable with
anyone
us.
else?
So I see a hand here. Murdis, jump in, tell us who you are, and give us your point of view or ask your question.
Okay, my name is Murdis Archer. I'm the widow of Bertram Archer, the entertainer. Um,
Mhm.
I heard Sister Miss Alexander was touching on some really critical points there. With the fast food. That's I would like to talk about the fast food at first of and foremost. When we were growing up as children, we didn't run to no fast food place. Our parents used to find that time, that effort to prepare our meal. Now, I understand what the gentleman was saying about the fast food, um, comparing to the time where the parents do not have to prepare meals. But one take I get from this is that you have to realize the pros and the cons. Is it better for you to save some time, plan your time, prepare the meal for the kids, or is it better for them to go to the fast food where they're gonna develop health issues? First and foremost, learning disability. That's one of the main things. If you do not eat properly, you're gonna have problems learning in school. Then you're gonna develop behavior issues. Okay? So it is more important for us to space ourselves, make the time, put the effort into preparing the meal for the kids, other than sending them every day to the fast food restaurant, which, from my view, is killing people. Okay? And as when I was growing up, my parents used to find the time to make my meals because there wasn't no fast food there then. On top of that, you will be saving money for the children education later, because each time you prepare a meal, you could put away um that funds to serve in some other areas to help the children. It don't make no sense you're gonna send your child to school and then they're not learning because of what they eat. And I think this is a big problem in the schools as well. That is one of the priority that they need to look at. What are the children eating? What are their environment? I was listening to the news and I heard everything that they were talking about, right? There's a issue going on. There are issues going on in the school and the home, and they have to put those two together to solve the problem. A lot of the parents, they don't have that effort to sit with their children and talk to them because they've been running from one job to the other. Sometimes they leave the children alone with neighbors. Okay. Last year I assist in a school just to assess some children, and it was mind blowing what I found out, because some of the children are holding back from their parents what they are experiencing because they are afraid to talk to their parents. On top of that, the parents themselves need somebody to talk to. So these are some of the issues that is happening. And if there anybody out there, our parents who would like to see a successful child, these are some of the key points that they have to address.
Thank you for that. I believe
Yeah.
you are lining right up with what Sister Cheryl was talking about in the very beginning. Sister
Mhm. Yeah. The And it's interesting again. Knowledge is power, because one of the things the findings that that researchers speak about is the fact that our children are not sitting down, although they're eating, they're not sitting together as a family to have a meal. And when we as parents show that love and sacrifice to be able to make a meal and have, our children sit around the table, that in itself mitigates boys and girls going out and being involved in other things. The research has shown that this is a mitigating measure for our children, to ensure, and gives an opportunity to be able to engage with them, to ask them how they were doing, how they're doing, what they're doing, how was school, and the rest of it. And so that it's very important to be, it has more than one benefit to doing. I just want to share, just as again as an adult, and more to speak about even adults needing to talk, because many times the parents are just so, again, they themselves need support, whether it's because they're a single parent, maybe because they're dealing with financial issues. They also need support, and if they need support, then they can't support their children in the way that that they need to. As I was doing a study, started in my studies in this area, I had an assignment, and I had to talk to my mom about, how she engaged me. And I just asked the question because it was a question that was on, that needed to be completed. I asked her, how did you act, or did you respond when I didn't do well in school? And I was surprised by the answer, but it just brought so many emotions flooding, in my spirit. She said, Sherry, to be honest with you, I could not expect anything because I didn't have the time to really check to see what you were doing. I was so busy working to make sure that the school fees were paid. I did not recognize the importance of talking to you. And I was, again, this was just probably less than 10 years ago that we had this conversation. And I guess I had suppressed that so much that I didn't recognize how much that had bothered me, that we weren't able to engage, because again, she admitted that she couldn't check the school, she didn't check my schoolwork, and she wasn't able to. And I'm grateful, and that's why she was like one of my biggest fans in this work, because she recognized the importance of it. And she said that I only could pray that you were doing well, because I knew that I recognized that I didn't have the time to give you. And I mean, truth be told, as a single mother and not having a father, I know that if I had that support, I would have done even better in school. I'm grateful for her that she paid and she sacrificed to send me to QC. But many times I said I would have preferred going to a public school if I had the time of my mother, and had that connection, not having the father that I did, and being able to communicate. So again, I digress, but that's just one of the things that we have to be, clear on, and admit to when we need help. And she recognized that she did need the help, but at the time she didn't reach out.
Good
Yeah.
point. Good point.
So
Let me
we,
put,
so go ahead. Mhm.
I want to put in a plug in there for something, but I also want to put, I think Sister Jackie is still on. I want to put her on notice. If she has any question or any comments, she can make them right after I make this one to interact with her. But let me put in a plug in her. The lady mentioned something very, very important. She said, when we were growing up as kids, Our parents took the time to plan for us, but there was something else also that's very, very important. We didn't have to go to the store. We didn't have to go anywhere else because in the backyard we had fruit trees. We could get a sugar apple, we could get a dilly, we could get a mango, we could get a coconut, we could get sour sop. So we could eat healthy because we had our backyard filled with fruit trees. So let me put in the plug in for the parent. An easy way to start on the grocery bill and also help the family eat healthy is put some fruit trees in your back or front yard. Plant some fruit trees. It doesn't take much to do them. Just plant some fruit trees. You can find them anywhere. Sometimes you can get them for free. Put some fruit trees in your backyard. That cut down on your food bill at the grocery store. It would also help your family to begin eating healthy. Sister Jackie, are you here?
Thank you so very much. You are having such this is such a pertinent topic, and you are having such a wonderful discussion. I was in the background listening and enjoying, but I will just make my contribution. I had my hands up, and I got you guys were so engaged, and you didn't even realize my
Sorry
hands were
about
up.
that.
So let me lower my hands right now. What I wanted to talk about, something that Sister Cher just mentioned, that I think needs to be reiterated and from an even different perspective. Talking about the single parent. We assume that it's only the single parent that is busy, like a single parent, a mother
Right.
hustling for her children. Trust me, you have
Mhm.
married people, children who grew up in married family where there was a mother and father exposed to that same hustle and bustle. Families not
Yes.
knowing how to slow. No one in the house. Mother went to work, father went to work. So let's not just limit it. I understand, Sister Share, about it from the single perspective. I could relate and I understand what you're saying, but I just want to put the married person in that same category because I know about persons, students, friends, and I do mentoring, mother and father in the house, and that same emptiness. No relationship is missing. So that's number one.
Right.
Number
Very good. Thank you. Thank you
my
for
pleasure.
correcting me. Yes.
No problem. Number two, and you brought up some really real issue. Number two, talking about that same issue, with your mom and that lack of relationship. Sometimes she loved you, but she was just too busy. And kudos to your mother for later in life honoring that and holding space for that and allowing you to express it and not because what some parents then do is, oh, you're ungrateful. Oh, I went to work. They start blaming and shaming the child because the child is acknowledging the truth. The child didn't say you abused. The child is just saying, I needed you. I missed you at home. So for the parents who are listening, you need to stand still and hear your child's pain. It doesn't mean, and I had to learn this with my own sons. I used to generalize it. My sons came because I wanted to be a great mother so badly. When they came and they pointed out something to me, I like that felt like the sky falling down. Like I want, like I don't understand. And they would be like, "Mother, we're pointing out one area. You're being excellent in all these areas. How do you improve in this particular area? We don't point it out." And I had to stand still and listen because I think sometimes parents internalize that as I'm a failure. One thing the child is trying to point out, but they blow it out of proportion and make it a general point. Number two. Number three, I want to mention the fact about parents being busy, irritable when they come home, not intending to be, but the job can be very stressful, especially for a mommy who is on a rotation of going to work, coming home, feeding children. Like she don't have no space, she don't have no energy, like you say, for those conversation. That's number one. She doesn't have the energy. And here is the other side of that. When the parents look at their children, when the parents look at their when the children look at their parents and they see how stressed out their parents are, you know what happened to them? They do not want to readily share their thoughts with their parents because they're saying, "Hey, mommy's so stressed out, I can just keep it to myself."
Yes.
So a lot of children grow up to parents in the home or the parent in the home, but they hold all of those exposed those feelings and emotion internally. And later in years, that's why we don't have no problem. And we have such a major problem, whether it's from married couples or single couples or married parents or single couples. This whole issue of conflict management, we've not been able to express those, air out those differences, and at the end of the day, have them resolved. So
And
that's a lot of
suicide.
work.
Yes.
Very good points. Very important
Right.
points.
I agree.
Very key. And again, it goes back to the emotional aspect, and that's a very very important area. And as I think I mentioned at the very beginning, it's like what the Bible says: these things we ought to have done, but not leave the other undone.
Mhm.
So we got to focus on all those aspects that are key points. And it goes back to the other things, such as Shay, you mentioned priority, time management.
Mhm.
How
That's
do we
right.
get
That's
there?
right.
How
That's
do we
right.
fix it? How do we get to those things?
That's
So
right.
I believe our time is getting short. So come on, give us a few more key points. I'm sure Dave is going to jump in about 5 minutes.
Right, right. So I think again we spoke initially you spoke about resources. And we have to again acknowledge or reach out when we recognize that we are sinking. Before in times past, the community or the what they call uh, who grows up the children, it was a village that helped in in bringing up a child, and so you had that safety net, and so right now that safety net is diminished greatly. So it's a matter of you then being able to recognize where those gaps are, and reaching out to organizations, like ourselves, like, the ministry, just family members. And that's again why family is so important. I know that I am blessed to be able to assist. There's still so much more I wish that I can do, but even with my nephews and helping them, and being somewhat of a safety net, and sometimes I say, I want to give up, but I know that that is my responsibility to be able to help. And so again, and again, if I didn't have the relationship with my sister, with the relationship with my mother, I wouldn't be so apt to want to do that. And so that's why, family relationships are so very important. And we be of the mindset that, hey, not because it's not my child, I not be responsible, or feel responsible in helping in their development. And we again, there's the education, spiritual education. We are learning more about scientific education, and some certain things that we did we do as parents that are not necessarily the best things to do. Like one of the things in terms of physical or corporal punishment, we're learning more that that is not the best way to go in terms of disciplining your child and whatnot. So again, there's more information that can be had on that. And then again, just to reach out to the community, reach out to the church, and really, this is, like you said, we are not, these are God's children. And so as we even reach out to Him, for help, we will be pointed in the right direction as to how best we can help our children to be able to develop in the best way possible. Um, the report spoke a little again about alcoholism, and again we spoke about obesity and the rest of it. These are fallouts when we do not help our children in or meeting the needs of our children. And so what we are seeing here should not be a surprise, but we need to come together to see how we will address it. And it's a multifaceted approach that has to be taken from all levels, from the government, from the church, from private sector, because it's a national crisis now. And as the report says, we stand to lose a whole generation. So, parents really need to recognize their responsibility, and really take it seriously, and not just say, okay, I'm giving them food, I'm giving them a roof over their head. What more do they want? And again, some parents would say that. but recognizing that, their time with that child, the engagement is of the most importance.
Yes,
And
indeed.
getting all of the knowledge that we need to get, scientific, spiritual, from community experience, will be able to help us to be better and to be better engaged with our children and to give our children the best possible opportunity for being able to being able to thrive even through some of the trauma that in some cases are unavoidable, but we will still be able to do the best that we can. And as I said, God will take care of the rest if we do our best. If we do our best, God will take care of the rest.
Okay. Nurse Lyndon, any points you want to add? Any contribution you want to make before we get ready for Dave? Come on. Nurse Lyndon.
Yeah, I could say something.
Okay, since Nurse Lyndon isn't there, you will have the last word.
Sister Alexander, she makes some good points there when she was talking about support. A lot of parents, they believe that giving their children everything that they need, that's all the support. But as I said lately, I had some sessions with some children in a school, and I realized that emotional and mental issues is some of the most problem that the children are facing. And the aggressiveness of dealing with your kids, that's a no-no. You have to find time, quiet time, talk time with the kids. You can't just shouting at them and what you believe it is right. No, you have to find a way to get to these children so you could see progress. But if you get up every day and you're shouting at them, you don't know what they are going through. Unless they sit down and talk to you, you will never know what they're going through. So I advise parents, have a talk, set a time to sit and talk with your children, build a relationship with them so they could open up with you and tell you what is going on.
Talk to your children, listen to your children. That's one of the reasons why I made it a point, told my wife, we're not going to drop our kids to school. We're not going to let our kids go to school by the bus or we're going to take them. So I made it a point to drop my grandkids and my kids off to school by car to pick them up in the evening because that was our talking time, particularly. That was the way to connect with them. So that's a very, very important point that you made. I don't see Dave yet, so Mr. Shea.
Yeah, just waiting right here. Just let me close it out, and then if y'all want to continue on the Zoom, okay? So I want to thank our guest, Sister Shea, host Don Major, and Jackie. I heard Jackie cut in. You've been listening to this program, Transforming Lives on Global 99.5. We're here every Sunday, 4 to 5. Want to wish Dr. Macmillan the best. We believe next week he'll be here. As we were saying, if you join us late, he had a minor medical situation he was dealing with, but he is fine. He said he indicated that he's fine. So we expect him to be back on next week. So thank you very much. Dr. Shea will be back on the 27th of the month. That's the last Sunday in the month. I think she maybe have a part 2 to this. So thank you for listening to Transforming Lives on Global 99.5 every Sunday, 4 to 5. Thank you, Sister Shea. Thank you, Professor Major. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, Dave. There's a Jackie.
Thank you.
I'm going to have to leave, so you might have to take over. So to share, appreciate your contribution as always. Have a great day.
Thank you, and yours also. Likewise. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. We need you. We need you. We need you to keep talking, keep pushing this program.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your encouragement.
Absolutely. No problem at all.
Well, Sister Shea, since it was, they said don't use all the goodies one time. Since you're coming back at the end of the month, we can resume unless anybody want to have a pressing question or a comment. Otherwise, at the end of the month, we having Sister Shea back. We're always excited to have her on the program. Always has good information. Anybody have any comment?
Right. I just want to just say to prepare for the National Family Week, and we'll be putting out some information on the activities that we'll be having there from the 25th to the 31st, which is the Sunday of which I will be on the show again. But
Oh,
National Family Week, think about some things that you want to do for your family, and maybe you can suggest them that we can do and suggest to the nation to be able to engage in family development. So thank you so much.
talk to them.
And feel free to contact me at any time. 803-6300 is my number. We are looking for volunteers. We're looking for persons who you have insights to share and who can actually be family mentors. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good information. Give us that number again, please.
803-6300. 803-6300. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. I just wanted to put the number in the chat in case anyone was interested in
Thank
it.
you.
All right. Looking forward to see you the end of the week. Have a great Independence celebration.
Happy Independence all.